Hey, this is Necronuchex Mortis from Nekrobscura Horror Media. This is new to me. I don't really do YouTube videos. Mostly on Instagram. You can always find me there. The Nekrobscura Horror Media 2013. Also on TikTok, which I believe is Nekrobscura Horror 13, could be. I can't remember right now, but I'm gonna do a little recording of whatever this turns out to be, because I need to make some content. So if anyone out there is listening, enjoy. I don't know what I'm gonna talk about, but guess I'll just start out talking about how much I love horror movies and scary stories and, the paranormal, unexplained, urban legend. I've loved that stuff since forever. You could talk to anybody that's known me, my parents, like growing up, my brother, everybody around me can honestly say that I've been into that for a long time, if for lack of a better word. But I guess I don't know. I guess it started way back, just listening to scary stories on tapes, cassette tapes. My grandfather had a crazy collection of VHS tapes and horror movies and sci-fi and all that. My dad would snag one or two sometimes and bring them home. Some of my favorite ones were like The Leprechaun and Puppet Master, stuff like that. Like, 90s horror, a little bit of 80s horror. Definitely came up on a lot of that stuff. But, trying to think, as far as, scary stories and stuff goes, I remember being pretty young, and we would have family get-togethers and stuff like that, and I remember always trying to get all my cousins and, whoever else was there, like a couple older cousins, to like sit. We would find like a place in the house in the attic or basement or something. Somebody always had a room that was like a weird, spooky kind of room that you could turn the lights out, have a flashlight, tell some scary stories and stuff. And I remember being able to make up crazy scary stories off the top of my head, and my cousins did the same thing. And I remember we could just sit there all night and tell each other stories till it was time to go home. So that was one of my favorite things to do. Later on, in later years, as I got older, I started learning about podcasts and, different websites and stuff that have scary stories on there, and I started reading into, once we got a computer and we got the internet, I started to kind of like just search for everything I possibly could. I'd type in everything: urban legends, scary stories, ghost stories, paranormal, real hauntings, all that shit. But that was like my thing. I loved it. Still love it. I would like to read scary stories on my YouTube page, if you're watching this now on this page here. Read a couple stories, but I would definitely like to do that as a full-time thing, start reading stories and finding new ones, because it's hard to find some really fresh stories out there that aren't all supposed to be real life, real life incidents or real life encounters. I kind of want the old paranormal and supernatural stories and hauntings and ghosts and stuff. I mean, real life shit is scary, no doubt, but I would much rather read about, spooky stuff, even if it's like not true. I don't give a shit. I just want to hear some scary shit, spooky stuff. If that's what you're all about, right? Figure if that's what you like. That's, what's the problem? But, yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't have much to talk about. Feel like I'm just kind of like rambling on about stuff, but, yeah, later on, like I said, about scary stories and things like that in the years in the years later on, me and my brother found different podcasts of horror stories. One good one. I mean, if I'm allowed to say name, what do you call it? Name check or name drop, whatever. I don't know what the fuck to call that. But if I can say the name on here, Pseudopod. If any of you ever heard of, or I believe it's still a thing, Pseudopod, like horror podcasts. Definitely remember falling asleep to those a lot. Later on, my fiance and me, before we were officially together, we would listen to scary stories together. When I was living with my roommate, we eventually I found Chilling Tales for Dark Nights, which is still great. And she found Mr. Creepypasta, which is also still great. And they just kept on going, like, kind of that way later on. More and more stuff we would just find, and like it turned out there was a whole thing on YouTube, a whole community on YouTube, it seems like, of people that read scary stories and are into that same kind of thing. I'm shocked at like how many stories and readers there are now. It's great. I'm like happy for like people. That's what's inspiring me. People like Mr. Creepypasta and Chilling Tales for Dark Nights, and Llama Arts is another one I really like that do animation. I love animated horror stories. Like I love I love using my imagination to kind of make up what's going on in the story, but to actually have a physical, or not physical, but have to see a actual thing in front of you, like actual like media like happening, like story playing out. Oh, like that's the best for me. Of course, like, again, like when I was a lot younger, had all the Goosebumps books. Just recently I pulled out 2 books I got from a cousin years back. She gave me 2 Fear Street books. Never got to read those, but I still have them, and still time for me to read them. Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, of course, that's, when I found those, the illustrations and the art, that's my favorite. I definitely would get those books out of the library a lot until I owned copies of my own. Found one at a flea market. Got the other 2. I can't remember how I acquired the other 2. I think one I got from a bookstore with a holographic cover on the one. It's pretty neat. And I also have the Treasury with all the stories in it. But all those stories, urban legends, yeah, like I said, scary stories and ghost stories, supernatural, paranormal, I love that stuff. Maybe at some point I can get more people to talk to me on here, like get some friends here, and we can bullshit about spooky stuff. My brother will probably be down for this. I know a friend of ours was talking about a podcast. This might not be the podcast that we were gonna originally, but this is definitely on my end. This is a thing I'm doing kind of on my own. I'm gonna try to do something with it. If this is the only recording there ever is, I don't know. That'll kind of suck, but hopefully I think of other things to do. Music. I definitely love to do weird music. Maybe I can get my John Carpenter on, do a little bit of some weird sound and stuff. Do some of my own music for my videos and my little podcast, or whatever you want to call this. This is not a podcast. This is just a YouTube thing, because I don't know how else to do shit right now. I'm going to make this a nice, even 10 minutes in some video, or whatever. But this is what I'm trying to do right now. We'll see whatever it is. If this is useless as fuck, then it is what it is. I'm just talking to my fucking self and talking to air. If no one listens, hey, and if you do, hey, thanks for listening this long. Like, appreciate it. And if it seems promising, maybe I'll keep making videos, even if it's me just bullshitting like this, if this doesn't bore everyone to fucking sleep. But just know that there's a fucking weirdo here. I love horror movies, and I love all this spooky shit, and if If you want to comment, you like the same spooky shit, follow me, like my shit, and hopefully I'll get to talk to some of you people, whoever listens to this. I'd appreciate if anyone reached out and let me know that you love the same stuff. Until the next time I record something, keep this shit creepy.